Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the office. Welcome to the morning grind. It is so good to have you here. I see lots of people here this morning. We've got a great crew this morning already. Stray is here. PH Arbex is here. Good morning, PH. Zero the Blade is here. Sable Phoenix is here. Andrew is here. Gashrin is here. We've got a whole crew this morning, which is good because I know lots of you were also on the show last night. And if you weren't, that's another one you really need to watch. So as it turns out, it seems like I've accidentally created two shows on the weekday nights that can go for many hours. So Goodnight, Dinner and a Board Game seems to be going that way on Friday nights because of the length of Hero Quest. Although it was shorter last Friday, but one Friday it went, till like 4 hours. It was a 4-hour game. When it was a 3-hour game. So I guess that one varies. But then when Doug and I get talking about Star Trek, apparently we can spend hours on a live stream. So I think it was like 4 hours last night that we took a deep dive into Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. If you like Star Trek and you like The Wrath of Khan, you're looking for something else to watch when we get done here, go watch the table talk that I did with Doug last night on Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. I mean, it's the movie's like what, 2 hours or whatever it is, and we took over 4 hours to discuss it. So we took a deep dive into that movie. Like, all right, and then they go down to engineering. No, wait. Before they go down to engineering, Carol walks in the bridge, through the turbo lift doors. Oh yeah. So we had to talk about that. So we went in deep on that. It was fantastic. Rogue Thinker's here. Good morning, Rogue Thinker. And BGD, welcome. Good to see you. So deep dive on Star Trek yesterday. I hope everybody enjoys it and that they will enjoy it. Let me throw out the link to the Discord server. If you are just joining us here, we've got the Ravenkeep Discord server right there. But then also, let's go over and check out the Goodnight Sword Kickstarter. I have been very excited about this. I really got a lot of energy yesterday, having launched the Goodnight Sword Kickstarter and finally getting the Goodnight Sword underway, getting something underway in one of the worlds that we're creating here. So this is finally, I feel like it finally started. Because it's been a long time coming, because I've had all the different problems with trying to get different prototypes going of different toys. And eventually I was just like, you know what? Let's just work on getting that one book, Goodnight Sword, which is my takeoff of Goodnight Moon, set in the tales of the world of Rabavania. Let's just do that. Let's do it as a print on demand, so that if we got a digital copy and a print on demand, that way we don't have to worry about minimum order runs or anything like that. We can just do it, and then we can start moving on. So that has been a huge benefit to me, as far as productivity and emotionally and anything like that. That all right, finally we are going here. So I've seen we have 27 backers and we're just under $1,000 right now. So if you want to come over Goodnight Sword, we also have the animated audiobook that's embedded over here. So if you haven't seen Goodnight Sword, if you've got a kid, a younger kid, or a niece, a nephew, younger cousin, friends, children who you want to be interested in fantasy and medieval tales, Goodnight Sword is the perfect way to get them introduced to that. And you can check out the animated audiobook here. You can see exactly what it is before you get into it. And then before you go over here and pledge, we've got digital books, the hard copy books, and then the signed copies as well. And then I also embedded a chunk of the morning grind where I actually take a look at the physical proof of the book, if you want to actually see what the physical proof is like, because I've already approved it. This is my this is one of my advanced preview copies, and I've donated three now to two different libraries. So I've got I sent two to the Hoover Library, and then I also yesterday took time out to go and donate one to the local library here, and it was fantastic. So there are ones being donated as well to libraries. So that's what's going on. Thank you to everybody who has already joined in on that. And if you are interested, please do click the link and go over. It's a short campaign. It's a short, no drama campaign. We got 15 days left. So just over 2 weeks. Sable Phoenix says, you know what that means? You should have Doug on every show. Good morning, Zero Theory. Good morning. So what I thought we would do today, I've still got this giant list of topics that come up that we should talk about on the morning grind. And, I need to reach out to Indestructible Boy. That's on this list. I haven't done that yet. I meant to do that, but with everything going on with Goodnight Sword, I haven't gotten to yet. Actually, I guess we could look that up just 1 second, just so we know. How is his campaign doing? I don't know anything about this, but what, Vagabond RPG? It's still going? All right. Oh, okay, here it is. No, it's got 4 days to go. I'd better go ahead and reach out to him. He's raised $23,791 for his RPG. So I should go ahead and reach out. 486 backers. So I'll have to check that out. I may reach out to him. He might come on Table Talk. I don't know. I don't know him personally. I don't know him at all. But sometimes you have good luck when you reach out to people. And they come by. Okay, so so what I wanted to look at though is I decided let's look at this old school essentials stuff briefly. I just have the basic rules here. Let me bring it up here on the screen. So this was a free download of basic rules, and I wanted to know exactly what it is, because obviously the old school rules in general are popular right now. But then, as seems to be the case, well, with a lot of gaming right now, we've got a whole lot of variants on. We've got a whole bunch of variants on. What is up with this helmet thing in the back here? That's kind of. So it's got a crystal in the back of his helmet. We've got a whole bunch of different variations on a whole bunch of RPGs, which does seem to include the old school games, because we just had Shadow Dark go. So Shadow Dark is an old school variant, right? And then Knave is going right now. We took a deep dive into Knave. So, but here is the old school essentials that I understand, is a lot of you have been telling me that it's basically what we looked at in the D&D Cyclopedia, cleaned up, revised and cleaned up. Because I had said, well, gee, why don't you just play something like from the D&D Encyclopedia? Because I've got it. I mean, you can download it now. You can get it off of Drive-Thru-RPG, and you can even get a physical copy of it, which I did. I ordered a print-on-demand version when that came out. So you can even get physical books of the D&D Cyclopedia or other D&D, like original D&D stuff. So why not just go back and play them? Well, one argument for that, or one argument to not do that, is that, yeah, it did kind of need to be cleaned up. Yeah, he's getting close. Sable Phoenix. Yeah, Terran Terran's only about 1,500 away from still fully funding. Yes, I think that's it. Yeah, he's close. So he's not funded yet, but he's close. In fact, I'll just go ahead and put what I should have done. I'll put a link to his Kickstarter. I haven't had an opportunity to check out the game or anything like that. Not yet. But that is the link. BGD says, old school essentials is Moldvay Cook's BX Expert D&D from TSR era, just beautifully organized, condensed, and laid out according to modern standards and sensibilities. That was exactly where I was going. That, well, one reason to not so it's not rules updated, but as far as organizing it, condensing it, because there was a lot of verbosity in the cyclopedia. It seemed like to me, it seemed like the organization was that it would tell you a little bit of something, but then tell you, okay, now if you want more, go to someplace else, and then it would do that several times. Some people like that, but I preferred to have topics kind of all together when I was looking at a topic. So I would have improved organization, laid out according to modern standards and sensibilities. That's why I don't think it needs to take a whole lot of time. We need to take a whole lot of time going through rule by rule what's here, because we did that already with the D&D Cyclopedia. So we should have basically already been through the rules. So this is the basic version. Like I said, it's only 60 pages long, and it should give us an idea of what it is. And I'm wondering if we can use it. Because old school games are popular right now. Could I do Rabivania or Theophany in terms of an old school game? Now, because I had previously been talking about, well, I would like to be able to put like a world book out with different world books with different sets of rules for different kinds of games. But then, as popular as the OSR is right now, why not at least potentially try this one? It might not be too hard to do some kind of combined 5th E OSE book. I don't know. As long as they have kept the Mystic class. Well, this is just like I said, this is just the basic rules, the 60-page. So that could be in something else. Barney Fraggles says, I think D&D 5e caused this. People thought they wanted streamlined simplicity and safety nets, but deep down they love the gritty, dangerous, old school crunch. At least a large chunk of gamers. Yeah, then they should be. That's what I think too. They like that's even when we were looking at a bunch of 5e variations. We ended up with a bunch of variations but some of them were even pretty minor tweaks. We talked about how sometimes what the rules we were looking at were basically just somebody's house rules for 5e. I imagine that a lot of these different OSRs are kind of like that as well, that they go back and forth quite a bit. Yeah, and then especially once the OGL situation happened and a lot of people scattered again. Of course, some of them scattered to different types of 5th edition. Oh, wait, did something else come out? I might have seen some other kind of playtest or something like that for something that came out. So, okay, so the table of contents here are introduction about this game, classic fantasy gaming. So we'll probably check this out and see what it actually is. So what is this book trying to do? Player characters, creating character, alignment, languages, experience, wealth, character classes. Here we go. Cleric, fighter, magic user, and thief. That's very similar to I think that is what was in the rules cyclopedia. Druid came later, and Mystic came later. Those were optional things. So that's our core right here. I don't see like dwarf and elf as character class, but it might be in here, or it might be in other things. Equipment, magic, adventuring, party organization, XP, damage, healing, death, open gaming license. So this says old school essentials. So if you're wondering what you can do with this, well, here we do have old school essentials as a trademark of Necrotic Gnome. This product is released under the terms of the open game license version 1.0A, copyright 2000, Wizards of the Coast. So this is something that you can use under the open gaming license. So that's good. So we have the old school stuff here under the open gaming license. Oh, they are out there? Okay, Sable Phoenix can confirm they do have the Mystic Druid, etc. They're just out there as add-ons. Excellent. So, okay, let's figure out what this is and what this is doing. About this game, what is Old School's Essential? A role-playing game of fantastic adventure where players work together to overcome fearsome monsters, sinister plots, and deadly traps in search of wealth, power, and glory. An old-school role-playing game styled after the beloved games of the 1970s and 80s. A relatively rules-light game. So here's what Sable Phoenix was just saying. A relatively rules-light game where the rules are kept simple in order to let imagination and fast-paced action take the spotlight. A streamlined rule set with the books carefully structured for maximum usability during play. Oh, we should sip and breathe. I need to do that before I start reading. I got ice water this morning because I needed it. So 2 deep breaths, complete inhale, complete exhale, and then let's sip. Here we go. There we go. So rules light, a streamlined rule set with rule books carefully structured for maximum usability during play, a modular game that can be easily expanded for play in many different fantastic genres and game worlds. The basic rules. This book is a free sample. Yeah, this is free. Like I said, so just download this free. Is a free sample of the complete rules of the game containing the full introduction and character creation rules, the 4 core human classes. Okay, so we're just talking about human classes here. Cleric, fighter, magic user, and thief. Full list of adventuring equipment, weapons, and armor. The basic rules for dungeon adventuring, encounters, and combat. The full rules for spellcasting, and the complete set of first-level spells. The complete game is available from Necrotic Gnome in 2 forms. The Rules Tome, a deluxe all-in-one 288-page hardcover. That kind of sounds like their version of the Cyclopedia. Or the classic game set, a fancy box set of 5 hardcovered books. Oh, so it's a box set, but it's a box set of 5 hardcover books. I thought it was like a classic starter box set like we have over here. The complete game includes full rules for adventuring in dungeons in the wilderness and at the high seas, 7 classes, including the Surly Dwarf, the Noble Elf, and the Plucky Halfling. Okay, so that's later. 106 spells of 1st to 6th level power, over 200 fearsome monsters, and 150 classic magic items. So, new to old school games, newer RPGs post-2000 tend to work on a different set of design principles than have somewhat different play expectations than old school games. Old school play style. Players who are familiar with newer RPGs but not with the old school style of play may find the following documents useful. The Principedia Apocrypha by Ben Milton, Stephen Lumpkin, and David Perry. I don't know that. And also Quick Primer for Old School Gaming by Matthew Finch. I don't know that one either. Ascending Armor Class. Players who are used to an armor class system where higher scores are better are advised to use the optional rules for Ascending Armor Class on page 9. So we don't necessarily have to go back to the Strange Thaco. Barney says, yeah, but the 5e have a nap and heal up to full thing, and multiple death saving throws with easy stabilization by a party member reduces the sense of peril that old school games have. Yes. So terminology here. See, what do we already know and what's actually new here that gives us a sense of what this is? So we've got terminology here. Dice rolling notation. We know all of that. Let's see. Dungeons, monsters. A range of old school essential supplements are available, adding extra rules, options, character classes, equipment, spells, monsters, and treasures to tailor the game to different settings, genres, and styles of play. Mix and match. The old school essentials book are 100% compatible and can be freely mixed and matched. In this way, different settings and genres can be combined. Roll your own. In addition to using the supplements published in the old school essentials product line, groups may wish to create their own additional content, tailoring the game to their own needs. House rules. None of the rules presented in this book or other old school essentials books are to be taken as gospel. If the players and referees wish, they should expand, alter, or be removed. Such tweaks to the rules are known as house rules. Many groups end up with their own unique way of playing tailored to their particular tastes. That says the rules have been carefully designed and very thoughtfully battle tested. Many groups will be perfectly happy with the rules as written. Beginning players are recommended to play as written. Okay. So this is 100% compatible with the 1981 edition of the world's most popular fantasy RPG, commonly known as Basic Expert Edition, BX for short. Any material published for the basic rules, basic or expert rules can be directly used with old school essentials. Decades of adventure are at your fingertips. The material presented in this book represents a 100% faithful restatement of the rules, character options, spells, monsters, and treasure from the classic Basic Expert game. It's worth noting. So I guess also if you wanted to look for older school stuff, but you did not, yes, you would still have to buy it from Wizards if you were looking for like the rules cyclopedia. So they're the ones who have the rules cyclopedia on Drive-Thru RPG. So if you were interested in playing old school, you can come over here to the Necrotic Gnome. You can get it from Necrotic Gnome, this restatement of the rules, and not have to worry about being involved with Wizards if you are concerned about that. It's worth noting that errors in the original Basic Expert rules have been errors have not been slavishly reproduced. An effort has been made to correct obvious mistakes. With the aim of increasing the playability of the game, areas of ambiguity or contradiction in the Basic Expert core rules have also been clarified in Old School Essentials, while attempting to cleave as closely as possible to the apparent intent of the original rules. For those with a passion for rules archaeology, a document detailing the clarifications that were made can be downloaded from necroticgnome.com. Oh, that's interesting. So you can find out exactly what type of bugs and warts were tried to be filed off. Over the last decade, a large number of old school adventure games have been published, many of which, like Old School Essentials, are also closely compatible with Basic Expert rules. Material published for any game that's designed to be compatible with Basic Expert rules can also be used here. Additionally, material published for all 20th century editions of the world's most popular RPG, for example, the classic Advanced Edition from the 70s, are also largely compatible with Old School Essentials. The rules of other editions do differ somewhat from Basic Expert rules, so some amount of adaptation may be required. So, adaptation rules elsewhere. Okay, so ability points, ability scores, class, race, level. Prime requisite experience points. An ability score that is the most important to the character's class. The character's score in these abilities can affect the rate at which the character accumulates experience points. Alignment, we're just using law, neutrality, or chaos. Hit points, hit dice. Armor class. So it gives us both options here. So the character's ability to avoid damage in combat, that's armor class. Armor class is determined by the character's armor and their dexterity score. Lower armor scores are better, so bonuses decrease the character's AC and penalties increase it. Dual format. The equivalent ascending AC is listed in square brackets for groups using the optional rules for ascending AC. So AC 5, 14. An AC of 5 or 14 if using the optional rules for ascending AC. An unarmored character has AC 9 under the descending system, a 10 under the ascending system. So it says some groups are more familiar with an armor class system where higher scores are better. The system is known as ascending armor class, abbreviated ACC, and works as follows. When using ACC, higher scores are better. Bonuses to armor class bonuses increase the ACC score and penalties decrease it, which is a bit more intuitive, right? We had a long discussion about Thaco and AC on when we were going through, well, the AD&D beginners box, and then also that was the main discussion, but also the D&D Cyclopedia. When using ACC, the procedure for resolving attack rolls involves the use of an attack bonus instead of a Thaco score and attack matrix. Note, using ascending armor class results in very slightly different attack probabilities than when using the traditional approach of ascending AC with an attack matrix. So it's not something that transfers over 1-to-1. Exactly. Maybe that's something that's elaborated on the website. Let's see. Attack roll. It's the character's ability to hit foes in combat determined by their class and level. The Thaco scores indicate which rows of the attack matrix, page 52, to use when attacking. I think I would just go with the ascending armor class. Might as well. Lower Thaco scores are better. The equivalent attack bonuses is listed in square brackets for groups using the optional ascending AC. So a Thaco score of 15 would be a +4 according to the ascending system. A Thaco of 15 or an attack bonus of +4 if using the optional rules for ascending AC. And which one would you do? Bo Barney says Thaco is something I definitely don't miss. It's just the difference of subtracting your modifier from the number that's rolled to hit for descending, or adding your modification to the DC that's needed to be rolled to hit you. I've never understood why people find Thaco and negative armor class so confusing, other than people who are just allergic to subtraction and negative numbers. I think also people are used to something that's generally something that's better being a higher number. So your armor class, the better protected you are, the higher it is, and the better the combatant you are, the higher your bonus. Movement, creating a character. Roll 3d6 for each of your character's scores: wisdom, dexterity, constitution, charisma. You can discard a character with 8 or less, with an 8 or less in every score. Choose a class. First level PC attack values. See, attack roll, AC hit. Well, okay, that's a little bit different. So this is, but see, this is also, I think, the old school in that well, it is the old school in the sense that the fighter and the wizard all attack at the same rate, or at the same level. So that's here. That's interesting. We got first level PC attack values. See, I don't think, but you should also be able to dispense with the table. So AC 20, or so if you roll of a 20, I guess that's an automatic hit. So that's why we don't have that here. So they're giving them like a Thaco of 19 or something. Yeah, right here. It says right here. Note attack values. Okay, well, let's just see. Adjust ability scores. It says, if you wish, you may raise your character's prime requisite by lowering other non-prime requisite ability scores. For every 2 points which an ability score is lowered, 1 point may be added to a prime requisite. We saw that in the D&D Cyclopedia. Only strength, intelligence, and wisdom may be lowered in this way. No score may be lowered below 9. Some character classes may have additional restrictions. Now that your character's ability modifiers are fixed, make note of any associated bonuses or penalties. See overleaf. Okay, the level progression chart for your character's class lists your Thaco score. This indicates your chance of hitting opponents in combat as determined by the character attack matrix on page 52. Yep, James, hey, we're back. We're back talking about that. Yes, people are generally for the ascending armor class. Just making the AC high and assigning that as the TN is super simple. This is much simpler than the basic rules cyclopedia. So yeah, pick this up, I would guess, if you're trying to do old school. We were already like 40 pages into the book or something by the time. So this is much more direct and more clearly written. Note attack value. So level progression chart for your character's class lists your Thaco score. This indicates your chance of hitting opponents in combat as determined by the character attack matrix on page 52. For quick reference, it's convenient to look up the values in the attack matrix row for your character's Thaco, determined by class and level, and record them on your character sheet. First level characters have a Thaco of 19, not 20. I'm used to a Thaco 20 in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. So first level characters have a Thaco of 19 or plus 0, resulting in the attack values shown below. So an unarmored person that said was 9. So it doesn't seem like you're going to have ACs worse than 9. The D&D Cyclopedia did have like ACs going all over the place. I'm used to like it going to 10 to negative 10 in AD&D, but it was going from like 20 to negative 20 or something like that. But I guess defenseless it's saying is 9 here. Yeah, Zero Theory says, yeah, they did a fantastic job of describing the rules. If using the optional rules for ascending AC, record your attack bonus on your character sheet instead of an attack matrix quick reference. See, an attack bonus is easier than instead of write down your attack matrix quick reference. The bonus is better, I think. Saving throws and class abilities. Roll hit points. Reroll 1s and 2s before applying con modifier as an optional reroll from the game master to increase survivability of first level PCs. I'll choose alignment, like we said, lawful, neutral, chaotic. Note languages. Characters of high int may also choose additional languages. Buy equipment. I bet they don't have packages for the adventurers, which I like. Note armor class. Your character's armor class is determined by 2 factors, armor worn and dexterity. Unarmored AC, if your character has no armor, their base AC is 9 or 10. First level, 0 XP. Strength melee is applied to melee and attack damage with melee weapons. Open doors, your chance of success to force open a stuck lock. Intelligence increases spoken languages and literacy. Wisdom, magic saves. Does not normally include saves against breath attacks, but may apply to other saving throw categories. Dexterity, still AC, modifies your AC, attack by missile attacks, and initiative. So dexterity remains a very important statistic. PH says, imagine trying to understand the rules cyclopedia as a 10-year-old Brazilian boy. I used to spend an hour with each paragraph with a dictionary by my side. That's dedication. That's a level of dedication that that you don't have often today, right? Like how many 10-year-olds today would fight through the rules encyclopedia with a dictionary in order to learn how to play D&D, getting deep into D&D. Mark was talking about that. I think I brought that up when he was talking about in his design vlogs for the Cool Name RPG, that there was something to the big tomes that are dense that really feels like you're trying to get into something. Constitution, that applies to hit points. Charisma, NPC reactions, maximum of retainers, retainer loyalty as well. Prime requisites, strength modifiers. And once again, you've got to get to you got to get up to 13 to start getting your bonuses in strength. Here, your open doors roll on a d6. Intelligence modifiers. How many languages and literacy? Dexterity modifiers. Well, it's just changed a little bit. Now, yeah, so your modifiers for your AC, missile attacks, and initiative. But once again, you got to get up to plus 13 in order to get a plus 1. Charisma, wisdom modifiers, magic saves. Constitution modifiers. I was here. I was talking. That must one of my speakers. I think turned on in the dungeon. I don't hear it now. Prime requisite modifiers. I don't. So your prime requisite for your class, and here's your XP modifier. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure why we have this. Does anybody know the philosophy or the reasoning behind having this? If you have higher prime requisite values for or prior prime requisite, you gain more experience points. So for whatever you do, you get more bonus points. If you've got low, then you get negative experience points. I'm not sure why that is, but it is the way that it is. This does have alignment languages. I had never heard of that. I don't remember that from AD&D at all. So that was just a D&D thing. All intelligent beings know a secret, unwritten language of gestures, signs, and code words associated with their alignment. Why? The secret language allows beings of the same alignment to communicate. Beings of other alignment will recognize when an alignment language is being used, but will not understand. It's not possible to learn another alignment language except by changing alignment, in which case the former language is forgotten. Coin conversion rates. Okay. Experience. You start with 3d6 times 10 gold coins. Faced with the possibility of character death, players may wish to create a will for their characters to leave wealth behind to an heir. If the referee allows this, the following stipulations apply. Tax. Any treasure left as an inheritance will be taxed at 10%. Boo. Heir. The character's heir must be a new first-level character. Or you can't leave it to one of the other characters. Only once. The player may only leave a character inheritance once. So that was a way to keep some of your stuff, right? I'm starting over. A player may only leave a character. Now, this actually says a player may only leave a character inheritance once. That's not per character. It says per player. James says, good alignment language is just a thumbs up regardless of the situation. So cleric, D6 hit points, maximum level 14. Okay, so we're back to maximum levels here. So maximum cleric level is 14. Well, no, wait a minute. I don't remember that from the rule encyclopedia because like humans could go up to any level. So actually here we're saying maximum cleric level is 14. I don't remember that. So they can cast spells. Let's just say they can have magical research to allow them to create new spells or also magic items. Turning undead here, of course, classic. They cannot. Strict holy doctrine prevents clerics' use of weapons that have a sharp cutting edge or stabbing point that may only use clubs, mace, sling, staff, warhammer. Turning undead. So, okay, once again, we're only going up. We're only rolling for hit points up to 9th level. Then we just go up +1, +1, +2. I guess this is nice that if you're trying to create, I was just thinking about this, if you're trying to create a higher level character, it's nice to be able to just look completely across and see this is what you're supposed to do, rather than saying, hit dice, D6, plus another D6, plus another D6. I guess you just look across. I'm trying to create a 9th level character. I have 200,000 XP. I roll 9d6 hit points. I've got an armor attack bonus of +5. Here are my saving throws. And here's how many spells I get. Because I'm always conscious of that. I want to be able to... that would be also extremely important to me, like if it were something like Rabavania. Because I was thinking about that. That it was the Rules Cyclopedia were saying that you were a squire up till like a 5th level fighter or something like that. So, 0 level to 5th level could be squires, or maybe level 5 or 6, you become a knight. Well, if you want to create a knight and you're supposed to be at that level, I want you to be able to look right across something like this and see exactly what it is. So so death, poison, wands, paralysis, petrify, breath attacks, spells, rods, staves. After reaching 9th level, the cleric may build a stronghold so long as the cleric is currently in favor with their god. A stronghold may be bought or built at half the normal price due to divine intervention. Once the stronghold is established, the cleric will attract followers, 5d6 times 10 fighters of level 1 to 2. These troops are completely devoted to the cleric, never checking morale. The referee decides which portion of followers are 1st level and 2nd level, which are bowmen, infantry, etc. And that gets you into domain level play, which we have been looking at in a lot of different ways since we started looking at the Rules Cyclopedia. Undead turning table. Okay, fighter is our D8. The maximum level, it says 14 as well. Is that something to do with just the basic, just these basic rules, do you think? Do the other ones go up to level 20 or level 36 like the Rules Cyclopedia did? Sable Phoenix says, it says something about how scary undead were in the early versions of D&D, that you had a whole class that was devoted to countering them. And Barney says, killing you bluntly is the moral way to do things. Well, skeletonized enemies are vulnerable to bludgeoning damage. That's the classic. That's the classic, right? Save versus dragons, basilisks, and giant spiders. Yeah. We'll see. Anytime a fighter wishes and has sufficient money, they can build a castle or stronghold and control the surrounding lands. You become a baron or baroness at 9th level. Fighter progression table. See, oh, wow. Oh, I think this was a D&D Cyclopedia thing, too. Because I'm used to fighter stocko increasing every level. That was an AD&D thing. That's what everybody started off fighting the same, which was a little bit bizarre. The fighter had more hit points and could wear armor that the wizard couldn't. But as far as rolling to hit, everybody was equally as good with their weapon. But the fighter increased his Thako every round, every level, from level 1 to 20. So he started with a Thako of 20 and then had a Thako of 1 by the time he reached level 20. I never had a 20th level fighter, but that's the way that would go. But here, this is much less generous. So even a fighter has got to stay at Thako 19 or plus 0 to hit all the way through 3rd level. But on the other hand, that may make more sense. Well, no, see, but you're becoming a baron up here at level 9. If you said, well, now you don't really become a knight or something like that until around 5th. Like that's what you'd be expecting to actually be good enough to be out on your own. Maybe it does make sense, but maybe that would be 5 to 9. That would give you levels 5 to actually start your own thing, and really be out on your own. And then getting to level 9 when you would start domain level play. So what was our Thaco up here. So it's a little bit worse. So it's worse for the cleric. So we're 19 or 0 all the way to level 4. Then we're at 17 for a bit, 14 for a bit. Then we go down to 12. So the fighter is going down to 10 or 9. Our saving throws over here. Magic user, D4 hit points. Again, maximum level 14. Magical research, spell casting. Magic users carry books containing the formulae for arcane spells. The spell casting chart opposite shows the number of spells in the magic user's spell book and the number they memorize, determined by the character's experience level. Thus, a first level magic user has 1 spell in their spell book selected by the referee, who may allow the player to choose. The list of spells available to magic users is found in the magic user spells on page 31. Magic users can only use daggers, and why can't you can't use a staff? Magic users can only use daggers and are unable to use shields or wear any type of armor. This makes them very vulnerable in combat. No kidding. After reaching 11th level, it says after 11th level, a magic user may build a stronghold, often a great tower. D6 apprentices of level 1 to 3 will arrive and study under the magic user, but that's not until 11th level. They stay Thaco 0 until level 5. At level 6, well, at level 6, it jumps up to +2. And here are your spells. Classic 1 spell, 1 first level spell at level 1. Level titles were so great at the time. We used to get proud and the whole game would change just by role-playing differently and new situations presented by the DM. Something that's definitely not, that's part of what we're talking about that has been lost in more modern styles of role-playing. The Thief, D4 hit points. Also D4. Leather, cannot use shields. So backstab. When attacking an unaware opponent from behind, the Thief receives a +4 bonus to hit and doubles any damage dealt. Combat. Read languages. So, yeah, the thieves are like the treasure hunters. The thief of 4th level or higher can read non-magical text in any language, including dead languages and basic codes with 80% probability. So a little bit of scholarship here. If the roll does not succeed, the thief may not try to read that particular text again until they have reached a higher level. Scroll use. The thief of 10th level or higher can cast arcane spells from scrolls. There's a 10% chance of error. We've got our thief skills, climb sheer surfaces. That's climb sheer surfaces. So it's kind of emphasizes that not just climb. Because we did see later in the encyclopedia that, well, anybody can climb reasonable surfaces. But this is like thief can climb unreasonable surfaces. That's the way to go with it. A roll is required for each 100 feet to be climbed. If the roll fails, the thief falls at the halfway point, suffering falling damage. Good morning, Neutromancer. Good morning. Neutromancer says, titles were cool, but first-level fighters got to be veterans, but thieves were apprentices. First-level fighters got to be veterans, but thieves were apprentices? Find or remove treasure traps. Remove a treasure trap. A roll is required. If a roll is required to find a treasure trap and then another to remove it, this may be attempted only once per trap. Hear noise. Hide in shadows. Let's see if we get their skills. Pickpockets. After reaching 9th level, the thief can establish a thieves' den, attracting 2d6 apprentices of first level. Oh, is this which the thief gets apprentices? I see. These thieves will serve the character with some reliability. However, they should be arrested. Should any be arrested or killed, the PC will not be able to attract apprentices to replace them. A successful thief might use these followers to start a thieves' guild. So here is our progression here for Thaco and XP. Oh, I didn't check, but I suppose it's the case that we're going up with different levels of XP. So a thief is 1,200 to get to level 2. Yes, the magic user is 2,500. Takes a lot. Fighter is 2,000. So yes, we are back here as expected, but we didn't check. But as expected, just classes level at different rates. Okay, so here is our skill chance of success. And it's just telling you by level. And again, climb sheer surfaces. That one starts off high because that's the one that can kill you, right? And then traps. I mean, you are not a very good thief. Hear noise. HN, hear noises. 1 to 2. Wait, how are we supposed to do hear noises? In a quiet environment, a thief can attempt to listen at a door to hear the sounds of something like a wandering monster approaching. Surely that's not percentile. Oh, okay. Rolling skill. Okay, here. This check is rolled on a D6. Okay, so there's no universal action resolution mechanic here, right? So hear noises. That's what I was confused. Like 1 to 2, but that's on a roll of a D6. All others are rolled on a percentile. But like I said, you're hiding shadows. If your plan is for your first level thief to be hiding in shadows, you'd better just assume the thief is not hiding. You'd better assume that you are actually not in those shadows. The thief class would only receive the title of thief at 9th level. Barney says, I miss that squishy level 1 thief experience. 5 minutes into your first game, you slip and fall down a pit trap, suffering 1 HP of damage. You are dead. Yeah, we were talking about that Neutromancer. This is a straight-up clone of BX. That's why we're kind of moving through it fast, but we wanted to see what it was like, and it's definitely cleaned up and more readable. We were trying to say, why would you get this if you could just go back and actually buy the rules cyclopedia? This is formatted better. It reads better. But Neutromancer says, if I was going to go retro, I'd probably try Dark Dungeons 10 or Dark Dungeons X, which I feel the same, but with more modern roles. I don't know that one. Another variation. Yeah, that says Dark Dungeons, the retro role-playing game in the style of old school 80s and 90s. Where rogues were thieves, races were classes, and you could start an adventure career exploring a few basic dungeons. Yeah. I don't know that one. Did that one try to, like, come up with, well, you're talking about more modern roles. We still got to look at that one. It comes up all the time. I swapped the thief out for the specialist in the Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Oh, I think the intent is not to clean it up, but to provide a book for people to own legally when it wasn't available anymore. The referee should roll to hear noise, hide in shadows, and move silently on the player's behalf, as the thief does not immediately know if the attempt has been successful. Equipment right here. I remember enjoying rolling for money and buying equipment, but that just takes too long. I enjoyed it when you have time. On the other hand, I mean, you often buy most of the same stuff anyway. So I'm for, like, adventuring packs of stuff here. You get your class pack, make a couple of choices or whatever, and some extra cash. Let's see. A torch burns for 1 hour, 6 turns, clearly illuminating a 30-foot radius. Weapons and armor. Why don't we also have its damage here? We don't. We got battle axe, cost and weight. Weight in coins. Ammunition, cost in gold pieces. Armor, AC, cost in gold pieces, weight in coins. So encumbrance, optional rule. If the optional rule for encumbrances are used, armor and weapons carried are treated as follows. Option 1, basic encumbrance. Light armor counts as leather armor counts as light armor. Chainmail and plate mail count as heavy armor. Detailed encumbrance. The listed weight of armor and weapons is tracked. The listed weight of missile weapons already includes the weight of the ammunition and its container. I like slot-based encumbrance. I like slot-based encumbrance. Torches or lanterns. Yeah. See, PH says, true. Part of the challenge was not to die. And then even dying was fun. I was something like, oh no, aha, okay, you'll have to see. I won't die this time while making another character. So now we've got the damage with different qualities of the weapon. Damage. Die rolled when using the optional rule for variable damage. Oh, okay. This is an optional rule for variable damage. See combat on page 50. Weapon qualities. Blunt may be used by clerics. Brace doubles against charging monsters. If you charge on brace it on the ground. Charge on horseback, moving at least 60 feet in a round and attacking doubles any damage done with a successful hit. Melee close quarters weapon. Missile. Reload, slow. The character acts last in each combat round. What has slow? A staff. A staff has slow. A polearm has slow. Splash weapon, two-handed. Casting a spell may be cast... a memorized spell may be cast by precisely replicating the required set of hand gestures and mystical spoken words. We're doing spell memorization here. We can reverse spells. The normal or reversed form of a spell must be selected when the spell is memorized. An arcane spellcaster may memorize both forms of a spell if the character is able to memorize more than one spell of the given level. A divine caster can cast the reversed version of a spell by speaking the words and performing the gestures backwards when it's cast. Probably specifically, you probably have to practice. They choose any of the spells from their class list. Arcane spellcasters choose from their spell book. Rules for deities disfavor. An arcane spellcaster. Remember, this was a funny section of the rule cyclopedia, because it was saying that if the arcane caster loses his spell book, it should be very difficult to get it back. But it also noted that the player, may not be having much fun because they're not going to be able to cast spells. So they're not going to be having much fun when they lose or have their spell book stolen. But it should be definitely difficult to get that back. Sable Phoenix says, I've got to the point where even as good as I think Lamentations the Flame Princess is, whenever I see an OSR game, I start comparing it to Moss Ritter in my head. Yeah, the slot-based inventory brings that to mind. So many choices to make. So many choices to make. So here are cleric spells. I mean, the being able to reverse spells allows you to just learn one. So that only takes up one spell in your spell book. So you can get it, but then you have two options. Here's spell descriptions. First level magic user spells. Oh, this says the ideal size of a group is between 6 and 8. That's a lot of characters. Large enough to confront the challenges of the adventure, while not so large as to be disorganized. If not enough PCs are present, the players may wish to hire retainers. So that's a lot more than the classic 4 people. 6 to 8 characters, classes. It is wise for a party to consist of a mix of characters from different adventuring classes. Combat-focused characters are essential for protecting the group from danger, while the other classes Each have magic or other abilities which will be useful for handling different situations that may arise during the adventure. As new PCs join play, the experience level of the character in the party may diverge. It's recommended that characters more than 4 levels apart should adventure separately, as challenges and rewards suitable for characters of greatly different experience levels do not match. Establish marching order. Oh, we've got the caller in here. So the caller, so we talked about the caller here. That's what it seemed like to me, Neutromancer. Clerics can reverse on the fly when casting, as long as you know how to speak the words backwards. PH says, each time we had to cross a river, the wizard would overreact by fear of losing his books. Which is important. But often hand-waved today, I think. People were talking about that when we were going over the rule cyclopedia. Water is dangerous to the wizard. So if the players wish to, they may nominate one of their number as the spokesperson for the group known as the caller. And that's easier when you've got 6 to 8 people. This player is responsible for informing the referee about the actions and movements of the party as a whole. Designating this role to one player rather than having each player informing the referee about their PC's individual actions can speed up play. The caller's character usually takes on the role of the party leader and should thus have a high charisma score. Oh, so this is not just meta. There's a part of it that's actually in play. So that's the party leader with a high charisma score and located near the front of the party in your marching order. That's interesting. So that's not just a meta level aspect of the game. The mapper. One player should create a map of the areas being explored based on the referee's descriptions. Details such as monsters and traps encountered, clues to puzzles, or possibly interesting unexplored areas may be noted. Dividing treasure. Surviving characters in whatever way they agree on. XP awards. Treasure the PCs bring back from an adventure is the primary means by which they gain XP. So you've got to bring that back. That was true in Knave 2nd Edition. And you've got to bring the treasure back in order. It's not enough to just find it. You've got to bring it back too. So it says treasure the PCs bring back from an adventure is the primary means by which they gain XP, usually accounting for 3/4 or more of the total XP earned. Non-magical treasure. Characters gain 1 XP per 1 gold piece value of treasure. Magical treasure does not grant XP. But then here is XP awards for defeated monsters. All monsters defeated by the party, slain, outsmarted, captured, scared away, etc., gain an XP based on how powerful they are. So actually, we were talking about the prime attribute giving you an experience bonus. That bonus is primarily over here to treasure you're finding. Base XP, the XP value of the monster is determined by its hit dice, bonus XP or ability. Bonus XP ability. A monster's XP value is increased for each special ability it has. Oh, this is telling you how to construct it. Base XP for the monster HD, but then for every ability that it's got, increase that. So that's telling you how to construct its value. I see. Monsters with bonus hit points. Monsters whose HD are noted as a number of hit dice plus a fixed point bonus, like 4 + 2, are more powerful and are listed separately on the table. Oh, down here? Yeah. For example, a monster with 2 HD is worth 20 XP, but a monster with 20 + 2 is worth 25. So here is like 2 with some type of bonus. Gotcha. That allows you easier to create monsters on the fly and come up with the correct XP for them. Extraordinary peril bonus. A monster defeated under especially dangerous circumstances can be treated as 1 hit die category higher on the table. The XP awards for treasure recovered and monsters defeated are totaled and divided evenly among all characters who survived the adventures. This includes retainers. Awarded XP is always divided evenly, irrespective of how the players decided to divide the treasure. Optionally, you can change that. Real time and game time. Turns are 10 minutes of game time. Rounds are 10 seconds of game time. Weight measures typically come into play only when discussing how much characters can carry. As coins are the most common form of treasure found by adventurers, all weights are measured in coins. 10 coins are equivalent to 1 pound. Yeah, caller is out of character. Leader is in character. I don't think the leader needs to also be the face, though. Probably not. Neutromancer says, yeah, it was cool. The H die was the level, but also the health and kind of the CR. In some cases, corresponded to the dungeon floor. Matt says, do you think you could run an AD&D module with advanced OSE without modification? Is there advanced OSE? It seemed to say earlier on in this, it seemed to say that you might require some modifications to run advanced Dungeons and Dragons, because advanced Dungeons and Dragons was not exactly the same as basic and expert. It was saying that you could run any kind of basic or expert game without modification. So basic or expert stuff without modification. But but it said there might be some stuff on the website about how to adjust for AD&D. So some groups may use a system to track the amount of gear or treasure a character can carry and how this affects their movement rate. Encumbrance is a measure of both the weight and bulk of a character is carrying treasure. Two options. So the encumbrance of treasure carried by a character should be tracked. The encumbrance of common items and treasure is shown below. But how many coins worth of weight can you carry? Okay, no, the maximum load of any character, so it's not based on some kind of other value. The maximum load any character can carry is 1,600 coins worth of weight. Characters carrying more than this cannot move. This is a limit to your advancement because you've got to get the coins back home in order to get the XP for them. Two options for tracking the encumbrance of characters' equipment are presented to the right. This system should be applied to all characters. Option 1, basic encumbrance. The weight of treasure carried is tracked to make sure the character's maximum load is not exceeded. Equipment. The weight of armor, weapons, and adventuring gear is not tracked and does not count towards the character's maximum load. Movement rate is determined by the type of armor the character is wearing and whether or not they are carrying a significant amount of treasure as judged by the referee. The actual weight of the treasure carried does not affect movement rate. So movement weight rate without treasure, without some significant amount of treasure, armor worn, unarmored, light armor, heavy armor, also carrying a significant amount of treasure. Detailed encumbrance, the weight of coins and other treasure carried is tracked. The weight of the character's armor and weapons are also tracked. The weight of these items is given in the equipment list because we saw weight in coins. Miscellaneous adventuring gear, backpacks, spikes, sacks, etc. may be counted as 80 coins worth of weight. Movement rate. The character's movement rate is based on the total weight of all significant items carried, including treasure, weapons, and armor. So here you go. Up to 400 coins, 600, 800, or 1,600 coins worth of weight. More than that, you can't move. Ones and 20s, even on ability checks, 1 is success, 20 is failure. 20 is failure. Because you're trying to roll under an ability check. Death. A character or monster is reduced to 0 hit points or less is killed. No saves. 0 or less, you are dead. Destruction of items. If a character is killed by a destructive spell or special attack, such as a lightning bolt spell or dragon's breath, their equipment is assumed to be destroyed. Magical items in the possession of a character who is killed by a destructive spell or special attack may be allowed a chance to survive by passing a save. For each item, a saving throw may be used that uses the character's saving throw values. I remember having item saving throw values that did get used a bit. That was in AD&D. I remember item saving throws, and I remember them coming up from time to time. But items that grant a bonus in combat may apply this to their saving throw. For each full day of complete rest, a character or monster recovers D3 hit points. If the rest is interrupted, that character or monster will not heal that day. Each day of complete rest, D3 hit points. Or magical healing. Saving throw categories. Death or poison, wands, paralysis and petrification, breath attacks, spells, rods, and staves. And like I said, it's funny to me that spells, rods, and staves are one thing, but a wand is its completely separate category. Let's see. Neutromaster says there's old school essential advanced fantasy player's tome. Okay. Google says. However, it doesn't seem to be AD&D. Races are still classes. There's just more like Dualgar. Okay. So Osric. Okay, Osric would be AD&D. I thought about that one. I don't know if I need to put that one on the list, but that would be interesting to look at. If Osric is AD&D, so that would be the difference. Osric is potentially AD&D, whereas OSE is D&D BX. I think I've looked at Osric before. Neutromancer says, natural healing is different. D&D is 1 hit point per day. Do I have Osric? I think I thought that's what OSE was. The Osric PDF. Okay, I do have Osric here. Well, it's not loading, but okay. So that's interesting if that's the AD&D rules. Neutromancer says wands are weaker. They correspond, but are a bit easier. Also, every trap save is wands. Falling rocks, wands. Okay, I was able to load Osric. The old school reference and index compilation. That says first edition adventure games. Huh. Well, I'll check it out to see. Both OSE and Osric, I think, are the closest to unmodified old school D&D meant as a drop-in replacement for your missing books. Dixon67. Hi, Dixon. Good to see you. Welcome to the Morning Grind. Advanced Fantasy for OSE allows you to add A&D flair to your BX style game. Saving throws, hazards and challenges, climbing, darkness, rules. Falling, we're at 1d6 per 10 feet fallen. Getting lost, starvation. If characters go for a full day or more without food or water, the referee may begin to apply penalties to attack rolls and movement rates, requiring more frequent tests or even begin to deduct hit points in extreme cases. Swimming, half rate, drowning. In circumstances where drowning is at a risk, as well as the chance of drowning, are judged by the referee. Example circumstances: swimming in treacherous water conditions, swimming while wearing armor or carrying heavy or awkward items, fighting in water. Example chances of drowning: a character swimming in rough waters while wearing heavy armor and carrying a heavy load may have a 99% probability of drowning. A character in the same water but wearing light armor and carrying a light load may only have a 10% probability of drowning. Wandering monsters. We know about those from Hero Quest. They come up quite a bit. Characters must rest for 1 turn every hour in the dungeon. If characters press on without resting, they suffer a penalty of -1 to attack and damage rolls until they have rested for 1 turn. Traps. The following stipulations apply to searching for secret doors, room traps, and treasure traps. Searching takes 1 turn. The referee should always roll the treasure for the character searching. That way they won't know if they simply failed. Each character has only one. You can only make 1 attempt to search a particular area or item. Encounters here, combat. Initiative, we're just going D6 for each side. Winning side acts monster morale, movement, missile attacks, spell casting, missile attack. Other sides act in initiative order. Players must inform the referee if they intend to cast a spell or a move when in melee. Other actions need not be declared. Slow goes last. Individual initiative is an optional rule. Instead of rolling individual per side, a roll may be made for each individual involved in battle, modified by DX. Missile attacks. We got rules for complete and partial cover here. Disrupting spells. If a spellcaster loses initiative and is successfully attacked or fails a saving throw before their turn, the spell being cast is disrupted and fails. It's removed from the caster's memory as if it had been cast. God, that's brutal. So I guess that's why it says up here, players must inform the referee if they intend to cast a spell, because they've got to get into that action and they may be disrupted. And if you got one spell and then you're disrupted, it's also gone. That sucks. Attacking, natural 20s always hit. So this is backwards from your ability check. Natural 20s always hit. Natural 1 always misses. See, rolling for damage. PC attacks. PC attacks inflict 1d6 damage. I was wondering about that optional rule here. PC attacks inflict 1d6 damage, regardless of weapon, but it's modified by your strength. So it's more important your strength. Damage of melee attacks is modified by strength than it is what weapon you're using. Monster attacks deal the damage indicated on the monster's description. An attack which hits always deals at least 1 point of damage. Some groups may prefer different weapons to inflict different amounts of damage. In that case, the PC attacks inflict the damage indicated by the weapon in the equipment lists. I don't remember that from the encyclopedia. Now, there were some really complicated rules for specialization and some weird tables in that, which are not here. But this is just, I was wondering if it was going to give you flat damage. It doesn't give you flat damage. It just says everybody rolls a d6 for damage and modify by your strength. I did not know that was part of it. Tomocrat says, I played Osric and it's almost a mirror of AD&D. Neutromancer says, that's why I like DDX. It keeps the same style as BECMI, but unifies the dice rolls. Positive AC, drops the percentile skill rolls, I think, adds a couple of races and classes, and no level limits. I think one of the authors of the BECMI made a new version of Thief that didn't use percents. There's a variant of Thief skill that uses D6. Like the Listen. So here is the high-level play. The attack matrix extends to, okay, this does extend to 36 level for the benefit of groups using the optional rules for high-level play that are presented in the complete game. So 36 was in D&D Cyclopedia, so it's here. It's a lot of levels. If character classes from other books are in use, the Thaco score listed in their level advancement table determines which role of the character attack matrix to use. Locate the character's Thaco score on the AC 0 column of the attack matrix. The character uses this role as the matrix for their attack rolls. For example, a character with a Thaco of 12 plus 7 uses the attack matrix row for fighters of 10th to 12th level, where the column 12 appears, where the number 12 appears in the AC 0 column. So here is the character attack matrix. That's just, the bonus is so much easier. So fighter level 1 to 3, attack roll to hit AC. The necessary roll to hit AC 0, 19. So that's interesting. So this is the table for fighters 1 to 3, clerics and thieves 1 to 4, and magic users 1 to 5. If you're trying to hit AC 7, you need to roll a 12. all the way up to 36, level 36. Now, I remember going up that high in D&D Encyclopedia, I thought it was interesting that the better you got, you actually started adding damage. Because like it went down to 2, but then if you went even further than that and it was easier for you to hit, it was still easier for you to hit, you started adding damage, which I hadn't seen, but which I also liked. So this is an example of making an attack roll. A 5th level fighter attacks a monster with an AC 4. The attack is resolved as follows. The player rolls a d20. The roll comes up as 14. The fighter has a strength score of 13, meaning they gain a +1 bonus to melee attack rolls. Thus, the attack roll is 15. The player looks up the result 15 in the attack matrix roll for a 5th level fighter. You have to go to a table. 5th level fighter. Let me look up my roll of 15. That means that I hit AC 2. This indicates the armor class the attack hits AC 2. As AC 2 is better than the monster's armor class the attack hits. The damage is rolled and the results subtracted from the monster's current hit point total. That's straight from basic D&D. Variable weapon damage was optional. I forgot that. Haha. Instead of referring to the attack matrix, attacks may be resolved using Thaco directly, which is better than having to go look up something on a matrix, but not as good as your bonus. A Thaco, for combat being such an important part of this game, it's so weird that it's so inelegant. A Thaco score denotes the attacker's, this is how we always did it. A Thaco score denotes the attacker's roll required to hit AC 0. The attack roll required to hit opponents of other AC scores can be calculated by subtracting the target AC from Thaco. For example, a character with a Thaco of 19 could hit an opponent with an AC 5 on the roll of a 14 or greater. 19 minus 5 is equal to 14. Roll 14 or better. Using Thacos to resolve attack rolls results in using Thaco to resolve attack rolls results in a very slightly different attack probabilities than when using the traditional approach of referring to the attack matrix. Really? So using Thaco to resolve it is something a little bit different than our attack matrix. And then also using ACC, ascending armor class, results in something slightly different as well. I suppose I don't really care at that level, but I suppose we could dive in and find out exactly what is different. So the attack matrix must have been constructed first. There must have been some reason why this was going to be the way that it was supposed to be. Then you derive Thaco from this. This is it's having to refer to this matrix though. Everything is tables. We haven't looked at Rollmaster. Now we did look at it against the Dark Master briefly. Now I've got that was back when I was just going like 1 day per RPG, and we were just looking at how basically they resolve their basic action mechanics. So we did look at it against the Dark Master, which is a cleaned up MERP. Basically, it's a cleaned up MERP. I had friends who played Rollmaster. We haven't gotten into Rollmaster. Yeah. We talked about that in the D&D Encyclopedia. It looks like something that was in a war game. That's how you resolve things in a war game. Those style war games where you have some type of skill or power or something like that. A lot of those tables were like that in Avalon Hill. And so that was, since that's what its genesis was, that's what it came from. Table was first. Thaco was AD&D. Well, no, when I was looking at the Rule Cyclopedia, the Rule Cyclopedia did have Thaco in it. It didn't tell you to do that first, because I was actually like, hey, wait a minute, I haven't seen the word Thaco. It was all on this table. But then after you went through the table, the Rule Cyclopedia at least did introduce Thaco and then tell you, now, if you want an alternate way of navigating this table, here is Thaco. OSE has the D6 variant in one of their compendiums books. Citizen Snips. Welcome, Citizen Snips. Good to see you on the Morning Grind. Welcome. There is a spot on your character sheet where you can write the relevant table line in. Yeah, and I remember, I think I did, I remember doing that for at least one character, creating an attack matrix for myself. But that's because I had all kinds of weird bonuses and stuff like that, and I had it colored in with colored pencils and stuff. Tomocrat says, I hated Rollmaster. You want to talk about everything being tables? Everybody called it Chartmaster. So, okay, so the rule cyclopedia is much later. It added Thaco as an option. Okay. So it was in the cyclopedia. I haven't gone back and looked beyond that, so I believe you there. So there was no Thaco originally. That was a core part of AD&D. So that's what I started with. Tomocrat says Thaco was loosely noted in the first DMG. I've heard that it was Gygax's loose notes to hit. PH says, Rollmaster. Once a 5'8" warrior monk of mine rolled a 0, 0, 0, 0. That's 100, 100, 197. I pushed a 12-foot troll. I pushed a troll 12 feet away and destroyed all his internal organs. Great game. That does sound like Rollmaster. Right. Yes. Rule Cyclopedia is 1991. So yeah, we looked at its publication date, but D&D, especially 70s and 80s. So we have not, like I said, gone to the exactly like a publication from the 70s or 80s. But the 1991 Rules Encyclopedia did have it. But Tomocrat is saying that Thaco was noted in the first edition DMG. So it might not have been the player's handbook. So oh, that's it. So then we get to the open gaming license. So we can use it if we want to. The full Old School Essentials games comes in 2 flavors, Classic Fantasy and Advanced Fantasy. Advanced Fantasy is equal to Classic Fantasy plus extra classes, optional rules, spells, monsters, and magic items. Classic Fantasy, a classic game that's quick to get started with, contains all content from the 1980s basic expert rules, 7 character classes, cleric, dwarf, elf, fighter, halfling, magic user, thief, and so forth. Advanced contains everything from Old School Essentials Classic Fantasy plus reams of additional material inspired by the 1970s advanced first edition rules. 15 extra classes, acrobat, assassin, barbarian, bard, drow, druid, drugar, gnome, half-elf, half-orc, illusionist, knight, paladin, ranger. I don't know what that is. Talk about pronunciation here. A sphere feniblim. Optional rules for choosing races and classes, hundreds of other spells. Both books are 100% compatible. I gotta look that up. That's a deep gnome. Surf Neblin. It says it's pronounced. Okay, I didn't know that. Sverf Neblin. That's a deep gnome. Okay, dark gnomes. This is better. This is better. I do like this book. So if I were wanting to try to get back to this kind of game, I would definitely use this book. I'd want to have this. Would also be just a great reference to have at the table. So they probably do, I would guess, print on demand versions of this, because this seems like the kind of thing that you could have multiple copies of sitting at the table for player reference, and then get one of the complete guides or something like that. So yes. So I guess there are reasons to not. I guess they have the domain level stuff. Maybe we'll have to check that out at a later time for their their advanced or their complete or something like that. So yes, I would check this out probably than trying to go back and read the cyclopedia. I like it, so that's good. I should do Dark Dungeons X next. I got so many things on this list over here. So we did Old School Essentials basic rules. Now we know what it is. There's still a lot over here, though. I don't know what we'll do tomorrow. All right. So OSC, Tomocrat says, was my gateway into OSR. Would have had hard copies of Basic and Advanced. They are very well made. I might have to end up picking them up sometime. All right. Hey, let's go over here right before we go and check how we're doing on the Goodnight Sword Kickstarter. So what has happened since we have been live over here? So Goodnight Sword, that's my children's book that is on Kickstarter right now for all those who want to get a young child into fantasy and medieval tales. If I can find some window here, we will see how we are doing. See if we gained anybody while we were live streaming here. Oh. Share screen. There we go. So, okay, looks like we are still we were at $998 when we started. So we were at $998. We got 27 backers. So, but come over and check out Goodnight Sword. And also, if you haven't seen Goodnight Sword, we do have the animated audiobook that's there. So if you want to check that out, that's embedded. Listen to the animated audiobook. It is obviously my takeoff of Goodnight Sword. It is the first book that is out in Rabavania, and it is obviously for the younger audience. And then as we go, we will be writing material for increasingly for older age and then up to family entertainment and young adult. So, but this is the youngest, so this is the start. So we started right here, and also because of the pictures, it gets you an idea of what the world is supposed to look like. Thank you to everybody who has already been a part of this. I know lots of people from the channel are already on the Kickstarter, and I do appreciate it very much. All right, yeah, almost 400% funded. Citizen Snip says, I bought all 3 tomes for OSC. They have a bit of confusing model to buy because they have lots of version options. I noticed that on their website too. I was like, I got to figure out exactly what to get. So, all right. James says, check it out and back it. Please do. All right. I've got work to do tonight. I've still got to finish actually some things because of Goodnight Sword going on. But I want to start Wednesday night streams again, but I don't think it'll be today. I'm feeling pretty good, though. I'm feeling energized because Goodnight Sword is going on, and we're actually doing stuff here. So I feel like I'm moving forward again. So I've got to clear some other stuff, but then maybe next week we can start Wednesday night streams again. All right, everybody. Go be productive, be creative, have fun, and I will see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Grind on.